In this episode, we investigate the tilted Earth and climate change, the cause and the unfortunate ramifications for the planet and for you and I. Let's get started. Hello friends, skeptics, and fellow travelers. What I'm about to tell you is a secret. The reason for this communication is to tell you that reality and what you consider to be truth is not as it seems. Your understanding is different than what is real. Something in this reality is not right. This communication addresses some of these concerns and has come to several disturbing conclusions. We only know of our planet one way, with a rotation on an axis, which gives our equator the maximum amount of sunlight. What if that axis started to shift more like this? Would places like Iran see breaking temps surpassing 120 degrees? Inuit are a group of culturally similar indigenous peoples inhabiting the Arctic regions of Greenland, Canada, and Alaska. Inuits are the descendants of the Thule culture, who emerged from western Alaska around 1000 CE. They are a culture who are tied to the land and the environment not only for sustenance, but complete survival. The Inuit have traditionally been fishers and hunters. Till this day, they still fish and they still hunt. Animals such as whales, caribou, walrus, seal, musk oxen, polar bears, and birds alike, and every once in a while the occasional Arctic fox. The Inuit have also traditionally gathered plants that are naturally available, such as grasses, tubers, roots, stems, berries, and seaweed, are collected and preserved depending on the season and the location. Knowing the seasons and the time of year, it is crucial when their entire means of life depends on the environment to know where things are in that environment. So, could you and I agree that if there was a change in the sky, the Inuit people would be one of the first cultures to notice?
Tabang anak kasuhu kami, suka-suka kami karuan kami, pawala waterap tinido. Kisiya ni, kaya bakit yan ang parok sa mga tanong na naman, kaya ba ubaruni pa uwat tapawa, ubarparok sa mga alungin tapawa, pakiparok sa mga tanong na naman. Nunak yabot, kiyaklop palangan. Kasi naligala yung kangang laro ng mga kakao nga sukuyin ita kakisyan eh kawin si pa yung nga sa tinak kapag nga nanubulik mga nga sa umiyano nipikatalak si mga kalawang sa kinatay ka ako siya sa tituan nito sukay ma nung nakikitlok pa naman sa kinatpaunak pa dito ng ano aking nga nagsarang mag-o. Ako si Badkakto. Tawag ko, at yung nagtangin. Ikong nga doon, iman na wala ko sa mayakarwa. Kaya man na yun nila. Amma, ang wala ko sa mga miyata, amang marala sa marakota. Tawag ko, ubto ko yan, amma kanoy jawatak sa malagat ko. Sila kanoy jawatak. Ila nuna kanoy jawatak sa malagat. Tawag ko na lang na indo. Ano kita na, mga kwanta ko yung mga ano. Wag niya katiya ko nagtuwalo siya ma dito ka doon eh nagisuyak to hayo yun ang masawa to na amaro abang sa amin natin ano kali araw to ni tayo na ano kaga yung ito araw sa may tahan na tawag na ano ka sangiyo araw magaw yun na to ni tawag na to man na sila ko yun doon ito wag niyo
na kutsik na toyuingan uklog ilangan nilog dito ang mauklog tulang ulirangan ya kanya awangan kanang nagting nuit tayo hilualyak sunin niya kanurin nga nung nawun maana sa kanya sumuwalok tok niya ahas wahangalat mau nga pakpalak sa mayutuloy ka na mau nga pakpalak sa maningan nung dikyan ng inyang kautan ng mga sa kanya kayo pala kayo ano na kayo kakanya ko ayaw mautsa ng manang asurin ya manit kayo kalwa man nga ikaw kukuha ka taman na apit sa mga lasuni apit sa mga asli ka na alin namin apit kayo kalwa man arahan ilo Arani api ilaw wala mana tambao pangaka
Kaya ko niya wala abdan. Isi kaktalaw tulutan tayo galo. Ami ho kasi tugalo abda. Na magiging natin niya kay kakta at hinak tayo sa galo at nagulang patagal tuk tayo tayo nakalog. Isi kalaw tugalo. Ilain na siya agayami agay takuya tuwa kami nikihit siya hulaw kami.
According to the Inuit, the sun and the moon have physically moved, and so did the stars. They claim that the sun now rises further to the north and stays directly overhead, which is heating up the snow and ice. A culture which depends on northern winds, ice flows, daylight hours for hunting, they have noticed that the earth has significantly tilted. Now, a wobble and a tilt are common for our planet. But our tilt is acting more like an 8 to 10 degree shift, and apparently growing. Milankovitch cycles is the theory that variations in eccentricity, axial tilt, and precision of the Earth's orbit result in a cyclical variation of the solar radiation reaching the Earth, and that this orbital forcing strongly influences climatic patterns on the Earth. The Earth's rotation around its axis and revolution around the Sun evolve over time due to gravitational interactions with other celestial bodies in our solar systems. The variations are complex, but a few cycles can be dominant. The Earth's orbit varies between nearly circular and slightly elliptical. When the orbit is more elongated, there is more variation in the distance between the Earth and the Sun and the amount of solar radiation at different times in the year. In addition, the rotational tilt of the Earth changes slightly. The greater the tilt means the more intense seasons. Finally, the direction in the fixed stars pointed to by the Earth's axis changes, while the Earth's elliptical orbit around the Sun rotates. The combined effect is that the proximity to the Sun occurs during different astronomical seasons. Based on the current position of the Sun at the point where it rises and sets beyond the horizon, the current angle indicates the original 23.5 degree axis tilt has shifted the Sun approximately 1,200 miles to the north. What does this mean? It means that we are 1,200 miles further south during the summer and 1,200 miles further north during the winter months. This is why we are experiencing hotter summers and colder winters. The change in tilt has resulted in moving the Tropic of Cancer from central Mexico to roughly the border between California and Oregon and across to North and South Dakota. The result is strange and extreme weather, mass animal and insect die-offs, and a change in bodies of water such as lakes and streams disappearing. Not only may we have moved in the galaxy, but our planet may be off its axis and beginning to shift as a result. This shifting has been occurring for quite some time. Around the year 2000, Earth's spin axis took an abrupt turn towards the east and is now drifting almost twice as fast as before, at the rate of almost 7 inches a year. It's no longer moving towards the Hudson Bay, but instead towards the British Isles. In the article entitled Concrete Testimony to Milankovitch Cycle in Earth's Changing Obliquity, Benjamin Fong Kao cites a historical photograph depicting the Taiwanese Jiayi Monument erected in 1908 to commemorate the Tropic of Cancer and the completion of the north-south running railroad, which the Japanese government built alongside the railroad. The inscription on the monument reads, North Line of Return. Landmark notes latitude 23 degrees 27 minutes, 4 seconds 51, east longitude 120 degrees 24 minutes and 40 seconds. The line of return is the Chinese designation of the tropic line, referring to the turning point of the sun's angle during the course of the year. What makes this monument interesting is that over the course of years, they have had to move the monument several times due to typhoons, earthquakes, and exposure to the elements. The general site is now a park with monuments 4 and 5, right next to each other. However, the true latitude of the Tropic of Cancer has moved southward by as much as 1.27 kilometers. What makes it even worse is that the tropic will continue to move southward by another 90 kilometers before it makes its way back, roughly 9,300 years later. Kao continues with the notion that the world's temperate zone is expanding at the expense of the tropical and Arctic zones at the rate of 1,500 kilometers per year. So, what is exasperating our tilt? The first major event to affect the Milankovitch cycle was in 2004 with the massive earthquake in Sumatra. The next major event which pushed our wobble even further was the earthquake in Chile in 2010. The next massive blow to our natural balance and wobble was the earthquake in 2011, which initiated the Fukushima reactor disaster in Japan, which the effect of that earthquake was greater than Chile and Sumatra combined. Add to all of this that Africa is turning into 2 continents. Massive geological changes are happening all over the world, such is the case with Africa. The East African Rift Valley has opened up with an extremely large crack, measuring some 65 feet across and at least 50 feet deep, and it's growing daily. Now, let's ask ourselves a few questions. First, do you think the governments of the world know this information? You can bet your last dollar they do. Do they know the final outcome and are hiding that outcome from the rest of humanity? Of course they are. Would humans be able to adapt and survive on a planet with a vertical axis? Absolutely. Why do you think the governments of the world are racing to Antarctica to build large secret bases underground? As long as you have energy, you can make heat. Follow me here for a moment. The North Pole has changed and is now leaning to the east. Snow and ice at the pole have melted. If the tilt continues on its trajectory, our planet may end up with an axis being on its side, thus exposing only one side of the planet to the sun continuously. Is this why there is a solar lens and a solar shield operating in our orbit? Is this why the government is attempting to hide the sky with chemtrailing? Is it because our planet is off kilter and our axis is tilting us almost sideways, which is drastically affecting life on this planet? It could force humans underground or force them to the opposite side of the planet where the sun literally doesn't shine, thus creating an artificial environment on the planet itself. Certain areas of the planet may slowly roast in this constant sunlight, such as Iran did last summer, when areas within Iran hit 129 degrees. It was a Thursday afternoon, June 29th, 2017. This past winter in the Northeast has been rather severe, so far lasting well into April 2018, with no end in sight soon. If this shift continues, the Northeast United States may be the more habitable zone, whereas places like Iran roast in the deep heat of a planet acting more like a slow rotisserie rather than a consistent ecosystem meant to inhabit life? Will we end up with an axis similar to Uranus, with our magnetic poles turned on its side? Only time will tell. Another event, such as Fukushima or a continental divide, could be the final push to putting our planet on a side axis. It is time for our government to come clean, to quit trying to confuse and baffle the masses as to the truth of our reality. We now know that man-made global climate change is nothing more than a fraud. We now know that the government is trying to play three-card Monte with you and I to distract us from the truth. Why else would NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, shut down cameras on private flights into space? What is it that they don't want us to see? Is it because of the solar shield or the solar lens, or is it our planet on a steeper axis? What does this mean for you and I and our children? Now that you have heard this hypothesis, it's time for you to verify the information. I will leave some resources for you to follow up with. It is an honor to count you amongst the believers of what we do here at Paranoid Skeptic. Thank you. Our mission is to build one of the best ME communities by focusing on its members. You can interact with me directly at facebook.com/Paranoid Skeptic. If this content resonates with you, subscribe. If you believe in this video, share it. If you want alerts for when new videos are released, hit that alert bell and give us a thumbs up. Feel free to leave your own theories on today's video in the comments below. More communication on this subject and other important phenomena will be forthcoming in future videos. End communication.